Hey everyone, I'm Justine with State of Grace Tarot. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Today I have a general reading for the week ahead. I like to, look at my weeks from Monday through Sunday. So this is a reading for April 7th through April 13th, and it's to just get an overall idea of what energies may be coming up for us this week and give us something to contemplate and something to think about. This is a general reading, meaning it may not connect, which is totally normal. Feel free to take what resonates and leave the rest, and I appreciate you all joining me. So I have this deck all shuffled up. This is the Rosebud Tarot. So let's see if we can get an overall energy. So for our overall energy, we have the Four of Water, Four of Cups. What we need to know, we have the Six of Fire. What we need to do, we have the Velocity of Earth, that's the Knight of Pentacles. What we need to release, we have Sovereignty of Water, which is the King of Cups. And what we need to contemplate, the Sovereignty of Earth, the King of Pentacles. So lots of court card energy here. And let's see, on the bottom we have let's put it over here, the Generosity of Air, which is the Queen of Air. So lots of people energy. So there might be a lot of differing opinions this week and a lot of inputs coming from multiple areas in our life. Maybe people trying to give us their opinions, whether those are welcome or not. So first, looking at the overall energy of the week, we have the Four of Water. And, we can see this woman here sitting on top of her rocks with a blue moon behind her. She's really just sitting and contemplating, and we have the pails of water in the foreground, which, is really what she's focusing on. And maybe she can't see or isn't as focused on this other fourth pail of water that she can't see. Sometimes I like to think of this card as more of a meditation card. Sometimes it can symbolize stagnancy or a pause or stability. And so, maybe this is a time where we need to take a moment to pause and reflect on our relationships, which is kind of showing up here with all the different court cards that we have going on. So really, taking a moment to evaluate our relationships and the emotions that we have attached to each of those relationships, and really sitting and meditating on that, which also kind of leads us into the energy of the Six of Wands, which is a little bit about recognition and celebration, right? You've poured your heart into some of your passions, and you're finally seeing them coming to fruition. So, what we know this week, the Six of Wands, we're going to see that recognition show up in our lives and somehow. And so, maybe it's not going to be as big and grand as we would like it to be. And maybe that, impacts us a little bit emotionally, but, taking the small wins and seeing where we can celebrate in our lives is something that we all need to focus on, seeing, the small little things that can bring us joy. Maybe this is also someone in your life that feels like they need a little bit of recognition. So where are we giving recognition to other people in our lives, and, communicating with them that, hey, we see you and, you're doing a good job. Sometimes a little bit goes a long way when you take a moment to stop and recognize someone. Now, what we need to do, we have the Night of Earth, and I find this one a little bit interesting. Normally the nights are, the Night of Earth is kind of like a slower mover, someone who's dependable and, willing to keep moving and taking steps and concrete actions and following through on their plans. Whereas this velocity of Earth, feels, this person is riding a bull. So what we need to do, it does seem like maybe getting a little bit more creative and maybe a little bit more wild as far as taking action and doing things that will help further and develop, our home, or, actual works. So this is taking concrete steps of actually doing things. Maybe it's gardening, or, going on a walk, or working out. What we need to do is take the leap and take action and keep doing it. Have a commitment to ourselves to be dependable and move forward in this goal that we're taking. So following along the lines of working out, maybe there's something small, a tweak or something. Maybe we haven't been as consistent as we've wanted to be, or maybe we haven't been working out at all. But in order to further our health and to, be able to live longer, it helps our mental health, but really coming up with a plan and implementing that plan and sticking to it. Even if it is just, taking a walk for 10 minutes a day. That we're in the Northern Hemisphere here, we're going into the spring, and so things are warming up. So, getting outside and really connecting with the earth and taking action. What we need to release and what we need to contemplate. We have two kings here. So we have the King of Cups and the King of Pentacles. So what we need to release here, this king, the King of Cups, is someone who is approachable and, still a strong leader, but someone you can go to for help. Or maybe this is an energy that we need to emulate. Maybe we've put walls up around us with some of our relationships, and we need to break down those walls a little bit more so that we can become more approachable. I think that kind of goes hand in hand with what I said for the Six of Fire, being recognizing the people around us and their small wins. In doing that, we become more approachable, which, sometimes is a little bit scary. I know at work, I tend to be very professional, and sometimes that makes people feel like I am less approachable for the small little things day to day. It's great if there's a problem and a decision needs to be made. But, for the small things and even the big things, if you're not approachable, you're not going to be able to help others because they're going to hesitate to come to you with their problems. But so maybe releasing that wall, or the notion of having to be removed from the people around you, and taking a good look at the boundaries that we've put up and seeing, are they still necessary, or are there places where we can release those boundaries because we've worked through needing them a little bit more. And what we need to contemplate, we have the King of Earth, which is, he's very wise and connected with the physical realm, and, being able to give guidance. So this is a good time, like where are we being wise? Where can we gain more knowledge? Where can we connect more with the world and those around us in order to be able to give our knowledge to others? And if we're more approachable, being able to give more of ourselves to others as they come to us. Because the underlying energy over here, we have the Queen of Swords. Because we're very perceptive, right? But we need to be able to give that perception and give that knowledge to others. And if we're not approachable and we don't have good relationships, people aren't going to be as receptive to our opinions and our perceptions. So let's see if there's any additional energies that we need to consider this week. We have attachment. We have stillness. We have storytelling. Yeah, so as we sit this week and contemplate, maybe we do some meditation, we're able to look at what stories we're telling ourselves about our relationships with others, and do those stories truly line up with the truth and how we are actually seen, and how our relationships are actually taken when looking at it from other people's perspectives. Are we telling fairy tales, or are we telling a nonfiction story? I think I'm just about done, so let's see what message we can take with us and carry with us this week. We have, you are wanted. There is a home waiting within. So I think, this is a great message of maybe we've put up these walls in our relationships because we have a fear that if we break down these barriers, that there's going to be no one else on the other side. But this is a message that you are wanted, there are relationships out there. We just need to nurture them and grow them and really focus on those relationships. And in that, we can build a home within ourselves and find comfort in that. I think that's, all I have for now. I hope you've enjoyed this reading. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you again soon.